Legends aren't always born with hype. Sometimes they're built in silence. Before becoming one of the most clutch players basketball has ever seen, Damian Lillard was just a quiet kid, overlooked, doubted, and forced to earn every ounce of respect.
You know, I wasn't a highly touted high school player or college player. You know, I had to do my work behind the scenes. You know, I always felt like I had a chance to make it. And the way I work and how much I believe in myself, I knew that would give me a chance. So anytime odds get stacked up against me, I feel like it's in me to beat it.
But when the moment arrived, when the pressure was highest and the margin for error disappeared, he never flinched.
I really came from the neighborhood and to a small school and unknown, and I made it to like the highest level.
From the streets of Oakland to the biggest shots in NBA history, this is a story about loyalty, hard work, and unshakable belief.
I'm confident because I know what I put into the game. You know, I believed I could do anything.
Lillard, long range three, and it's good at the buzzer!
That's why the foundation of what you built on is really important. If it's not real and it's not really tested, when you get to those moments, you're going forward. People will remember me for being a more solid person than I was a player.
This is the story of Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard was born on July 15th, 1990 in Oakland, California. He grew up in Brookfield Village, surrounded by distractions that could easily pull a young kid in the wrong direction.
When Damian was born, we lived on 82nd Avenue. So in the avenues, it was kind of crazy. We also spent a lot of time in Brookfield, which is where my mom lived.
Back at home in East Oakland, it was tough growing up because you got drugs, you got violence, and it starts at an early age. So if that's what I'm around every day, it's tough to go in another direction.
His parents, Gina Johnson and Houston Lillard, made discipline non-negotiable. There was no room for excuses, no room for entitlement. We couldn't just be running around the streets. We were either at my grandma's or we could go up to the Brookfield Rec Center. When the streetlights came on, we had to be home. If you didn't beat the streetlights, no comment.
Is your brother the person who put the ball in your hands?
Yeah.
So
my brother was a hooper.
And me and Damian, we would walk around the corner with our basketballs. We had one each. And we between our legs the whole way, step for step. I'm talking about 100 in a row.
Front yard, do a reverse layup. I do a reverse layup. Do a 360 layup, you know?
So we'd be there for hours until the gym come open.
Like, I remember it was the first time I played 21. And I played against my brother and my cousin John. And when I played against them, they was out there doing the Allen Iverson crossover and doing all these moves and doing all this stuff. And like, I couldn't do it. Like after that day, I was practicing that stuff a lot more, trying to do crossovers and trying to shoot from far. It just clicked. Like I wanted to be good at it. You walk out of my grandmother's front door, you would walk through the grass.
We didn't have a basketball court and it was a tree branch. It was like half of a branch shaped like the front of a basketball hoop.
I started to picture how it would hit, like how it would go through there, like it was going through a rim.
One day, he came and the tree was cut down.
My grandmother was like, when I was getting over there, she was like waiting at the door to tell me like, did they tell you? I was like, tell me what? She was like, they cut the tree down. And I turned around and it was like down to like a stump, just gone.
I didn't have nothing to shoot on, so my grandfather, he brought milk crates. He would, cut out the milk crates, cut out the bottoms of them, nail them up onto the telephone pole.
So I was like in the streets shooting, and like people would be walking down the street, older dudes that was like selling drugs and stuff like that. They would stop by like, damn, you can't guard me, and damn, I could outshoot you. And I would like play them one-on-one, do shooting competitions against them, all that type of stuff.
Basketball entered his life quietly, not as a dream of fame, but as structure, as something that kept him focused when everything around him tried to scatter his attention.
The main thing is to find an escape. Find a way to escape, man. Basketball was my way to get away from everything.
I feel like, going to 3 high schools. My sophomore year, I went to a private school, St. Joe's, where Jason Kidd went. And when I got there, I'm like, this where Jason Kidd went. I'm about to come here, I'm gonna be the next one after him. I got there, I ain't even play. My sophomore year, that was my sophomore year, I ain't really play at all. Like I literally was,
So
when I say riding the bench,
playing?
I was on varsity and I was like literally not playing, like 0 minutes.
Wow.
At the end of the season, I had a conversation with the coach where he basically was telling me like I wasn't gonna be on the team. Broke down all these numbers about, this many kids go to college, this many kids make it, whatever. And basically told me like, you really think you're gonna be one of those people, And I was like, yeah.
I left his office, I caught the bus home, and I told my dad, like, I know this is my second high school, but I gotta leave. And I transferred back to Oakland with all my friends. So, like, I was like, they ain't playing me. I don't really like private school like that anyway. I mean, I'm a public school kid, so it was already kind of weird. And then I was like, I convinced my parents to just let me go back to school with all my friends. And when I got there, it was like, I was back in my element.
Thankfully, Dame got plenty of playing time for the local youth club named Oakland Rebels, and it was with the Rebels when he made his first game-winning shot.
I was 16 years old. My team is playing in a tournament in the Bay Area.
The Rebels competed in a local tournament as underdogs in an elimination game against Jared Bayless, a future NBA player. By the end of the first half, the Rebels were down by 20 points and it seemed like the game was over. But in the second half, Lillard started to chip away at the lead, and it all came down to the final possession.
I get the ball, the clock is running down, and I get to about this red line right here. I just raise up for three with a dude right in my face. He right underneath me, I raise up, I hit the three, and I go crazy. Me and my teammates, we celebrating, we all like on the court. I take my jersey off. They give me a tech. In high school, a tech, you get 2 free throws. So we were up 1, they make both free throws, we lost the game.
For Damian, it was a huge embarrassment. He swore that he'll never get out of control like that again.
We was going to different gyms, watching like other local teams play. And everybody was like, did y'all win? And everybody's like, nah, like Dame hit a game winner. And he took his jersey off. And then like, it was like the story everybody was telling. I was just like, man, I was sick, bro. I'd never do nothing like that again. So my junior year, I averaged like 20. And then the feeling I had from that and like my friends like just kind of pushing it and gassing it up like that, I was like, if they think this was something, wait till next year. So that whole summer, like AAU, I was killing.
As a high school senior, Lillard averaged 22 points and 5 assists per game. But due to the fact he was listed at 6 feet and only 165 pounds, no big school gave him a serious look.
I felt disrespected because a lot of people that I grew up with, they started getting recruited and they was in all these rankings and all this other. So I was like, I didn't see the separation that everybody else saw.
I mean, my mindset was always to prove people wrong. You know, I think that's something that's common amongst people who feel like they're being overlooked.
Dame was considered a 2-star recruit, and he received hardly any college offers.
I'm playing in pro-ams and rec leagues and open gym, and
I had a AAU game, and we was playing in Dallas, and we showed up to the gym. It was like a 10 a.m. game. And
the game started, and like nobody was there. I kind of started off the game slow. I was like, man, ain't nobody come to the game.
And right before we tipped, just, you know, a little short white dude walk up. My AAU coach tapped me like, that's Weber State. And at the time, I knew who Weber State was because I used to create a player on the college basketball game and put them on Weber State because they was one of the lowest level schools on the game. So I would lead like a small school to a national championship on a video game. I had a big game. I had a great game. After the game, he offered me a scholarship and they started recruiting me. So they was the first school to start recruiting me.
In the end, he chose a little-known university in Utah called Weber State because they were the first school that believed in him and offered him a scholarship.
We started the season and it wasn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be. So I went to school, you know, when I got to school, I was coming off the bench.
Like when I got on campus, I was like, damn, I ain't starting. I ain't at North Carolina. I'm at Weber. Like,
they was just telling me like, man, you gotta earn your spot. And I remember thinking like, man, like I'm the best player they done had come here in a minute. And they like, you know, like I go to class, coach waiting outside my class, making sure I'm not late, like couldn't miss a single class. It was like, first day I got there in the summer, it was conditioning. We running stadiums, all this crazy shit. And I remember thinking to myself like, I don't think I'm really cut for this. Like, this crazy.
You know, I realized that, you know, I didn't work hard enough and, you know, I didn't play hard enough. I didn't play fast enough. You know, I started to just realize like, man, this is a little harder than I thought. It ain't supposed to be like this. I'm telling myself this over and over and over. It ain't supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be starting. I ain't supposed to be averaging 6 points.
But the next season, he improved to 20 points per game and led the Wildcats to the conference championship. He was also named Conference Player of the Year. Still, it was a small school in a weak conference, and it wasn't like he was dropping 20 a night against Duke or Kentucky.
After my sophomore year in college, I got invited to Adidas Nations. And when I got there, it was like Drew Holiday, Eric Gordon, Joakim Noah, like it's like real players, Corey Brewer, D Rose, they like in camp with us, like hooping, going up and down. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be the real test right here. We get out there, we start hooping, and I do something, I get my shot off, I hit a three. I'm like, they gotta just be letting me do that. Ain't no way I could just get it off like that. So then the next time.
Then I came down the lane one time at camp. It was like Joakim Noah, like he just didn't come over. He was just kind of waiting. And I took off and I dunked it, and he like tried to come late. He didn't really try to block it, but he thought he'd be able to just come late and get it.
And after playing against all those dudes, I was like, man, ain't nobody at the level I'm playing that got a chance.
In his junior season, Dame continued with great form, and his name started appearing on the NBA draft boards.
So I came back to my junior year, I was killing. I was like averaging like 28. Like I came into that year like I'm about to go crazy and I'm gonna try to leave. You know, my family was going through a lot.
I kind of thought I had a chance to go to the NBA after that year, and I think I really got ahead of myself.
Just 9 games into the season, Dame broke his foot and later was officially ruled out for the remainder of the season.
Like right when I thought I was about to be able to just enter the draft, I break my foot. And then I look at the draft boards and my name ain't on there no more.
I missed the rest of my junior year and basically set me all the way back.
Just to have everything taken away from me so abruptly, it was just gone. Like I played 9 games and then broke my foot.
And while most players would get discouraged and believe their NBA chances were gone, Dame was more motivated than ever before.
And over that time, you know, my mind automatically just, I knew people would doubt me after that, after I broke my foot, because it was already a lot of doubt, you know, because I was coming from a smaller school. I really tried to find things that I could, you know, help myself with without having to be on the floor.
He realized how much he missed the game, which made him work even harder. Dame was on the court every day. He was shooting from a chair, which added more arc to his shot and enabled him to shoot with more range.
The summer, like when I was hurt, I go through that whole process in the cast, in the boot, rehab, all of that stuff. I was lifting, I was swimming, I was doing cardio, I was in the gym 3 times every day. It was the best thing that ever happened.
You know, I'm over here walking to the gym, but you know, I'm gonna go get some shots up, go do some ball handling. I'm back on my feet.
I stayed at school all summer. I did the rehab, I was training, like I was in shape. You gotta just have that edge and wanna keep getting better all the time, or that's when you're gonna stay where you are, and you never wanna do that.
When the next season started, Lillard didn't need any time to get back in shape. He returned physically stronger, with better ball handling and with an improved shot.
I got stronger, I was more athletic, I was faster, I was bigger, like I was appreciating the game more.
And focus.
I came back my last year, I led the country in scoring.
As a redshirt junior, Dame led the nation in scoring for most of the season, averaging 25 points. One of his best performances came in December 2011 against San Jose State, when Lillard scored 41 points, including a game-winning three-pointer that secured a double overtime victory for Weber State. At the end of the year, Lillard chose to forego his senior season and enter the 2012 NBA draft, though some scouts still questioned whether he was truly a top point guard prospect. Small school, weak competition. Can he really do this in the NBA?
Coming from a smaller school is kind of like everybody don't automatically respect you. You got to prove it up more than one time, because when you look at, you know, the guys from Kentucky and Kansas and Duke and North Carolina, they would just get respect off of where they go to school. And just the fact that I come from Weber State, where I didn't play the greatest competition and I wasn't recruited by the biggest schools, it just automatically put a chip on my shoulder.
Toward the end of the year, they was like, you know, he might be late first, early second. Went to the combine.
It was one of those things where I had, you know, had a little buzz about my workouts coming in.
The first day, I was like, my agent was like, just do the shooting, the vertical test, do the bench press so you can show them you're athletic and you're strong and all that. And then like we'll talk after. So I got there, we did 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 1-on-1, the shuttle, we did the vert, we did the 3/4 court sprint, bench, I did everything. They really got to see it in front of them, you know what I'm saying? We did all that stuff, and by the end of the day, they was like, he gonna be in the lottery. Like it happened like that.
Man.
He was like, don't do nothing the next day. And I was like, okay. And I did it. I went and did it again the next day. I played again on the second day. And I had another good day. And he called me like, man, you crazy. And I was like, man, I ain't fly. across the country from Oakland all the way to Chicago to just be here. Like, they like, man, you gonna be a lottery pick. I'm like, you gotta realize where I've come from to where I'm not about to take your word for that. Like, I gotta do it for me. Like, I'm gonna back it up again. And my second day was better than my first day. So that's how I ended up jumping into like top 10 for real.
After the pre-draft workouts in front of NBA coaches and GMs, there was no doubt he was one of the best players in his class.
For me, it was like a crazy process, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know I was gonna be that high. I didn't believe it even when I was in the green room. I'm like, man, ain't no way I'm about to get picked this high. Like, I'm gonna be the dude sitting here to the end, like.
Right. And in the end, Damian Lillard's name was called with the 6th overall pick by the Portland Trailblazers.
The Portland Trailblazers select Damian Lillard of Weber State University.
You know, I'm entering the 2012 NBA draft, and I'm just dreaming, pursuing my dream, so follow me on the journey to the NBA.
He chose to wear number 0, more precisely, the letter O, not because it looked clean, but because it told his story.
I wear the number 0, but when they introduce me at the game, they say wearing the letter O, Damian Lillard, because Ogden, where I went to college, right here is Oregon, where I play now, Oakland. So like, I wear the number 0 for Ogden, Oakland, and Oregon, like all the places that I've lived, so.
His summer league, that rookie year. When he stepped out on the court, I knew what he was saying to himself then. Can't nobody out here with me.
I got the summer league, and summer league was kind of easy. Like, it wasn't really a lot of dudes that's actually in the league out there. And then I remember I was walking through the tunnel, my agent was like, come on, man, like, you know, people gonna be worried about you, like, cause I was 1 for 10. He was like, man, people, like, you gotta come on. And I remember I was walking through and I looked at him and I was just like, you know, I just did like this. And my mom and my dad was there too, cause it was my birthday. I kind of look over at my dad, and my dad was just like he just was nodding, like, yeah, so what? You know, like, keep going. No matter how the game is going, like, it's about to turn around. I'm not confident just because I think I'm the greatest thing ever. I'm confident because I know what I put into the game. Since I was a kid, you know, when people ain't around, and before people knew I was Dame, when I was going to Weber State and, you know, begging to get into Adidas camps when I was in college. Like, nobody really knew me, but I was doing the same work. So my confidence comes from knowing that, like, I put a lot into this.
Did you know you took over the scoring lead for summer league after this performance?
Nah, I didn't, but the most important thing is to win.
By the end of the summer league, it didn't matter who he played against. He was gonna say that to himself. He probably still says that to himself today.
At first I was competing with maybe 100 other prospects trying to get drafted. Now I'm competing against the best in the world, so I don't want to get out there and get embarrassed, so got to get myself ready now so when training camp and the season comes, I don't get shocked by Russell Westbrook and LeBron and all those guys. So.
Even though he was from Oakland like Gary Payton and Jason Kidd, Dame was not loud when he arrived in the NBA. He just kept his head down and kept working.
When I got there, I was like, I'm gonna come in and compete for a starting spot. Like, I ain't coming in here to be happy to be here. Like, we here now, so I'm trying to make my mark from the jump.
On November 1st, Dame made his NBA debut against the Los Angeles Lakers led by Kobe Bryant.
The first 5 minutes, I was just staring at him like, he wasn't paying me no mind, you know what I'm saying? So when I got on the court, I'm thinking, you know, he gonna be like, welcome to the league, you know, something like that. He ain't say shit. So that kind of like put me back into being a competitor. That's Kobe or that's Bron or whoever. I was like, damn, he ain't say nothing.
The building was buzzing with anticipation, unsure of what to expect from the new point guard.
I was excited and nervous at the same time. And once I came out, my first shot that I made, I stepped out of bounds in the corner and I made it, but it didn't count. So I was like, man, now that was supposed to be my first 3 points right there. Then it didn't count. And I told myself the next time I get an open look, I'm shooting it. So
before the defense gets set, Lillard deep three and hit it.
Right when I made it, I kind of had a mug on my face and my family was there, so I was juiced about it. And then my confidence just went through the roof.
Damian didn't carry himself like a rookie. He didn't look rushed or overwhelmed. He took control of the offense and looked unfazed by the stage.
I'm loving what it's seeing. Lillard trying to put a cap on it here. Lillard to the rim, score! scores! And that'll do it for the third.
In my first game, I had double-double, 23 and 11 assists, and that's when I realized that I was going to be able to have a pretty significant impact on our team.
After the game, Kobe praised the rookie.
I mean, that boy's serious, man. He's serious, and he's not afraid of anything. And, he has the whole package. He's got the three ball, the mid-range, get all the way to the rim, obviously. And we just had to go get him. We just had to say the hell with it, just go trap him.
It was crazy, that I was kind of like ignorant to what was actually happening. It was like Kobe, Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Powell. It was a lot of dudes out there.
After the game was over, I came out the locker room. My guy, Nate Jones, I come out of the locker room, they waiting for me. They're like, man, great game. Like, that's a historic game. You did this. Isaiah Thomas, they telling me all these stats. I turned to Nate and I was like, hey, like, I could really rap, bruh.
Like, I can rap for real. And Nate was like, bruh, you just had 20 and 10 against the Lakers. And I was like, I know, but like, I can really rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was really blind to the fact, because I wasn't pressed about it like that.
On December 17th, against the New Orleans Hornets, the game came down to the final possession.
We had the ball on the sideline. I think it was maybe 5 seconds left.
With 4.2 seconds left, the score was tied 92-92, and the Blazers got the timeout.
And we went to the bench, and coach was sitting there about to draw up a play, and I was like, I want the ball. I told him I wanted the ball, and that was the case multiple times where I was just like, Coach, give me the ball.
So it's a good, smart play. Will Martin in there as well. Batum to the corner. Here's Babbitt. Back to Lillard. Lillard for the win. Got it! It had been a quiet half for Damian Lillard, but he comes up with the biggest shot of the night.
2 weeks later, the Blazers played the Knicks at Madison Square Garden.
My first game at Madison Square Garden was crazy. It was everything that I expected to be. Before the tip, when we came out, the music was playing. Going into warm-ups, it was like the crowd was there, the energy was there, the music was on point.
His first visit to Madison Square Garden, the rookie point guard out of Weber State, has been absolutely amazing right off the bat, Clyde.
Late in the fourth, with pressure mounting, Damian hit a clutch three-pointer that pushed Portland's lead to 6.
Pulls up for three. Oh, he puts it in. What a shot from the rookie. Nails the three-pointer, and it's back to 6.
In the world's most famous arena, a rookie from Oakland had seized control without even blinking.
And then I just walked to the bench. My teammates jumped off the bench and they was like, yeah, damn, yeah. Like everybody was coming up to me. And I was like, yeah, I just did that. They wouldn't expect that. So it was cool.
I think the biggest thing is that I'm not scared. Growing up in Oakland, I think I saw a lot worse things. I wasn't scared then, and now the worst thing that could happen is me lose a basketball game or get outplayed, so I don't have a reason to not have poise.
Then, on January 12th, Portland traveled to Oakland to face the Warriors. Damian's home city, his roots, his people in the stands. The environment was hostile and familiar at the same time.
I remember I came off a screen and I hit a fadeaway jumper and I kind of got fouled and I fell and I was like, all right, the ball went in. Then I came off the next ball screen at top of the key, the next possession.
Lillard another 3.
And then I remember after that, it was just like shot after shot after shot.
Shot clock at 8, Lillard another 3.
I'm making all these shots, I'm playing good, I'm killing in front of my family in my home city. I had got so hot that they scored one possession on us and I was dribbling the ball up the court. And Jared Jackson brought me, he was backpedaling, and I just like hesitation and raised up like way outside of the 3. And then it went in, and then the crowd was like, oh, like loud. I hit a couple more shots, and then like we went down by 6. And I came back off a pin down screen top of the key with 2 dudes running at me, and I caught it, faded away on 2 dudes, hit another 3. And it was like a crazy game. And like when I see it on film, it's like I can see their bench, like I can see everybody on their bench, like every time they get shot, they like, oh, they grab it, they go off, like, and they tapping each other during the game. And I'm like, man, that was really crazy. Like, that was a great experience for me.
The Blazers lost that game, but Dame finished with 37 points, his career high at that time.
And then after the game, I came out. I wonder if somebody got a picture, bro. It was literally 200 people, bro. It was like all the way to the top. They was just out there waiting.
A double Batum baseline, skips it out top. Lillard, oh, down the middle with the right hand.
Damian played all 82 games, averaging 19 points per game. The Blazers finished the season winning 33 games and they missed the playoffs. But Lillard kept a promise to his mother and won Rookie of the Year.
Into Lynn, lean, scores again! He can't be a rookie, can he?
In a draft class with Anthony Davis, Bradley Beal, and Andre Drummond, Lillard became just the 8th player in NBA history to win every Rookie of the Month award, and just the 4th player to win Rookie of the Year unanimously.
I mean, I said it in my press conference when I entered the draft, I want to be Rookie of the Year. A lot of people might have looked at that like I was crazy, but I really believed it. And now here I am getting this award, and I'm not surprised by it. And that's not meant to be a cocky statement, because I know that I put the work in to put myself in this position. So I just expect more from myself. And I want everybody here to know that I expect more next season from myself.
Then the 2014 season started, and even though Lillard's numbers stayed virtually the same, the Blazers improved significantly. Damian became the engine driving it forward. His confidence was no longer subtle. He demanded the ball.
Lillard turns the corner, darts to the rim, and scores!
Can he shut him down like he did last year? Lillard fires. Oh, are you kidding me? At the horn.
But this year I had hit like 6
Yes,
games.
I remember that. You had one in Detroit, you had one in Cleveland.
I had a bunch of just game-winning shots this season.
Together with teammate LaMarcus Aldridge, Dame became an all-star. He became the first player in NBA history to participate in all 5 events over the All-Star weekend.
I did every event.
So you did the three-point contest, you did the skill challenge, you did the dunk contest, and you participated in the game, basically.
And the rookie-sophomore game.
And the rookie-sophomore game.
Yeah, every event.
Lillard started all 82 games for the 2nd straight year. Portland finished 5th in the Western Conference with a 54-28 record. In the first round of the playoffs, they faced the Houston Rockets, who had James Harden and Dwight Howard, and who were considered heavy favorites. But after 5 games, the Blazers led 3-2 and were in the position to win their first playoff series in 14 years. With just 0.9 seconds to go in Game 6, the Rockets had a 2-point lead, and it seemed like they would force Game 7.
When I think about it, I just think about, like, how was I not worried? It was Game 6. If we lost, we were going to Houston for Game 7. We weren't going to win Game 7 in Houston. We were down 1. It's like 0.9 left, and I'm walking on the court.
9/10 left. A 3 wins the series. It's Lillard. He got the shot off. And the Blazers win the series for the first time in 14 years.
He didn't rip off his jersey, he stoically walked it off with an icy stare until his teammates corralled him and knocked him to the floor.
It was crazy how it happened, because that was not the play.
I actually broke the play.
When we in the huddle, Stas drew up a play to go to LaMarcus Aldridge.
Basically lobbed it to him.
We come out the huddle and we walk into the court, and I looked at Dame and I told him, I say, man.
So we walking on the court, and Mo Williams is like,
go get the ball.
So by the time I get to my spot, I'm just looking at Batum, and the referee's holding the ball, and I'm just waiting for him to handle the ball, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna sprint. I'm just gonna sprint to the ball.
After I hit that shot, I was just like, I turned around and I had a face like, I just ended the series. First time in the playoffs, walk-off game winner.
But when I think about it, I'm like, how was I not worried? Like, it was like major consequences. Like, we was going home for sure. Like, we weren't going to win in Houston.
In his first ever playoff series, Lillard averaged 25, 6, and 6, shooting almost 50% from 3. In the second round against the eventual NBA champion San Antonio Spurs, Dame averaged 19 points, but the Spurs were too strong and won the series in 5 games. After the season, Lillard was named to the All-NBA third team. This season introduced Damian Lillard to the national audience and was the first glimpse of something special.
Just going back to work like I always do, working hard. The biggest thing is going to be to come back in better shape. Every year I want to come back in a little bit better shape. I think that'll really allow me to be able to be more effective in my time on the court.
Upon entering the NBA, Dame signed with Adidas, but in 2014 he negotiated a new 10-year contract with his first signature shoe on the horizon.
Dame, what's the ceiling for this team this season?
I don't think we have one. My first year, everybody was new. Then last year, it was kind of like who's going to be in what role, and what is it going to be. And now I feel like because we got so many people returning, we going into the season knowing exactly who we need to be and what each guy needs to do to make the team our best.
In Damian's third season, he again featured virtually the same stats of 21 points and 7 assists per game, making his second All-Star team.
Foul to give, 5 seconds for Lillard. Lillard's in a nice corner, takes it inside and jams it over Zeller. Lillard, here he comes, he's got room. Lillard for the tie, got it with 3 seconds left. Where have you seen that before? Lillard, he packs it on Gobert. Gobert, you're a poster.
The Blazers finished 51-31, securing a strong playoff position.
Lillard, a triple. Got it in the foul.
But after a disappointing first-round playoff exit, they came to a crossroads. It was clear that this roster reached its peak and something needed to be changed.
The team that we had with LaMarcus, my second year we won 54 games, but that was like the first time winning a playoff series in like 15 years. And then I remember after that year, I was like, all right, we got something. It was me, Wes was our shooting guard, 6'5", 3-and-D, strong, competitive. We had Nick Batum at the 3. He was a playmaker, shooter, defender, slasher. LA at the 4. Robin Lopez at the 5. He was the best offensive rebounder in the league at the time. We had Mo Williams coming off the bench. We had Darrell Wright. CJ was on our bench. Alan Crabb, Will Barton. Like, we had squads. And I remember that year we came out, Bron was in Miami and we was smoking everybody. Like, we was beating everybody. #1 in the West. West tore his Achilles. LA tore his thumb. And I just remember our season just fell apart toward the end. It's kind of to the point where it's a business and, you know, we all friends, so that won't change, but things could change on the roster, you know, but we just don't know yet.
4 of the 5 starters led by LaMarcus Aldridge left the team. It was the end of an era for Portland. Analysts questioned whether Damian could lead alone, whether his calm translated to true franchise leadership, or whether the Blazers were about to slide back into irrelevance.
I take more pride in challenging myself more than anything else. That's what lights a fire under me is putting a challenge in front of myself. I know that's gonna bring out the best of me when I challenge myself. So.
Over the summer, Lillard signed a 5-year, $120 million contract extension with the Trailblazers. It was clear for everybody who became the franchise player for Portland, and Damian entered the season knowing there were no excuses left.
They like, are you ready to be a leader? You know, like, you ready to be the head of a franchise? And like, they asked me these questions and I'm looking around in the office like, I ain't never even been in this office. Like, but it's just like, the business is like that. It changed fast. It was an adjustment from when LA and everybody left to when I jumped out front, because it can be heavy just knowing like, if we win, I'm gonna get a lot of credit. If we lose, it's my fault.
However, in the 2016 season, with Lillard being the only one left, it seemed like Portland would be bad for a long time, except the space opened up for another great draft pick, CJ McCollum.
CJ can't get one away. Lillard gets it away, scores, and he's fouled! 4-point opportunity! Into the lane, up and under, left-hander. What a move by Damian Lillard!
That year was fun, you know what I mean? It was like my first time being out front, like I said, and I went into it like, man, I'm gonna test it to see if I can really be one of these like top dogs, you know? Like, if I can really be the head of the snake.
Lose anything when you go to the bench. Oh my gosh.
Lillard's voice became louder in the locker room. Teammates looked to him in moments of doubt, and the responsibility stopped being shared, and it became personal.
Lillard well away from the rim with 2 Mavs on him, fades for 3. Oh, he hit it over Nowitzki.
On February 19th, he scored a career-high 51 points against the defending champions Golden State Warriors.
Lillard trying to do the same. He hits a 3 and he's fouled. That's the 4th on Curry. Here's Lillard against Rush. Long 3 again is good again. Lillard for a career high. Yes, sir! 46!
This would be the 5th of just 9 losses all season for Golden State, who eventually went on to win 73 games, surpassing the 1995 and 96 Chicago Bulls for the winningest regular season of all time.
Look at the crowd. Lillard heat check. Oh! It's not fair.
Who's the most fatal opponent in that war zone?
I think Golden State, because you can beat Golden State for 3.5 quarters. It could be 6 minutes left, you up 15, and they will erase that lead in 2 minutes. I think where people get it mixed up is when they allow that to turn into a fear factor. Sometimes people fear them. When they sense that little bit of fear, you're done. And you got to go out there and play against them like you know you're going to beat them.
Can he put a cap on it? Top of the key, yes sir! Crowd on its feet.
2 weeks later, he had his second 50-point game of the season in a tough loss to the Toronto Raptors.
From midcourt, this'll count. Good!
Over the season, Dame hit multiple clutch shots and solidified himself as one of the league's elite guards. However, despite finishing 8th in the MVP voting, he didn't receive the All-Star selection.
I was just frustrated because I was younger, and I was trying so hard to prove myself and trying so hard to show him, like, I'm nice too. Like, I can do this too. And the more that it wasn't being acknowledged, I was just irritated by it. I wanted answers, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all need to tell me why. Like,
Lillard improved his numbers to 25 points and 7 assists per game, and Portland didn't skip a beat, making the postseason for the 3rd straight time. In the playoffs, they got past the Clippers, but then lost to the Warriors, despite 31 points per game from Dame.
We played Golden State, and we was up double digits every game. And I'm like, man, we lost 4-1, but we could have beat them 4-1.
Still, the narrative lingered. Great player, good leader, but how far can he really go? That question would define the next phase of his career. The following season was quieter. Lillard improved his regular season average to 27 points, but somehow missed the All-Star game for a 2nd straight year.
When you had that happen, it's like, man, they playing me. That's your first thought is, man, they hating. They got something against me, especially when you younger. Like when I was younger, I used to be like, man, they, you know, because that was my whole career.
Lillard with 5 seconds with 3. Lillard makes his move on Fareed for the win. Let's go!
But our team showed a lot of resilience. We fought. It seemed like the game was pretty much over. You know, we gave ourselves another chance, and we got it done. You know, that's what it comes down to, getting it done.
The Blazers weren't very good. That's why they decided to trade for center Jusuf Nurkic, someone who runs well, controls the defensive boards, and sets great screens.
I mean, I think he's come in and just been himself. He's a pretty blunt guy, and I think that's the first thing that all of us could appreciate right away. He didn't come in and, you know, try to make us believe he was somebody that he wasn't. And also his play on the floor, you know, he came out and showed it. He scored on the block, he protected the rim on defense, and I think because of all those things, he made us a better team.
Low to the floor. Spin, straightens, counted, and it goes. It does. And he is fouled. Coming from behind Plumlee. Lillard in transition, the 3 got it.
It's gonna be nights where you like missing shots. It's gonna be nights where somebody might get the best of you. It's gonna be nights where you don't feel up to it. And a true competitor, you always gonna find a way to get yourself in the game and get your job done.
Portland hovered around mediocrity, fighting inconsistency all year. But with the Bosnian beast on the inside, the Blazers slipped into the playoffs as the 8th seed.
I mean, I play against whoever is out there. I'm always up for a challenge. I think everybody knows that.
However, in the first round, they faced the Golden State Warriors for the 2nd straight year. Portland went on to lose the series in a clean sweep despite Lillard's 28 points per game and 34-point effort in Game 4.
Splits a pair of defenders. Count it. And count the bucket off the window and the foul.
Next season was more of the same. Lillard averaged 27-6, and this time he did make the All-Star and All-NBA first team, officially entering superstar territory.
Dame, you've been a star in the league for a while, but right now it feels like this is the highest level at which you've played. Is there any explanation for why in your mind?
I think the best explanation is probably just experience. I take it very seriously as just getting better each year. Over the summer, I'm constantly trying to find ways to improve, ways that I could play stronger for longer periods of time. And this season, I think I'm just getting results for the time that I put in. And it's also mental. I think my mentality has gone up to a different level, and that helps a lot.
Staggered screen at the top. Careful rescreen. Dame with a 3. Yeah! Damian Lillard. Warriors. Damian away. Gets by Durant and throws him in the right hand.
He's not messing around.
He's going to do it again! Oh! Stays on Lillard. Drives into the lane to the glass.
Oh my goodness.
What a play off the contact. He scoops and scores.
Lillard picked up by Ingram. Lillard. This is
The Trailblazers finished 49-33, securing the 3rd seed in the brutally competitive Western Conference.
That season, you know, once we started to have so much success, we was like, man, we could win it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got my 3rd All-Star game. It was in LA. Our team was winning a lot of games. I was first team All-NBA, the only time in my career. It was shaping up to where I was like, damn, I might really get some consideration for MVP. Like, we could make a real run.
Despite being clear favorites, this time it was the Pelicans who swept them from the first round of the playoffs.
So it was a 3 seed and had home court. They swept us and everybody was just killing us. They was killing me like, oh, he didn't show up and all this stuff. But they was trapping me, double teaming. Yeah. 3 bodies just loading up. I couldn't even get a shot off, but I wasn't finna just not try. So I was just missing. I couldn't get nothing going. I mean, I think when you're going through it, you just kind of like shocked a little bit, especially because it was our first time since we've been in Portland getting home court. And we saw it going a completely different way. And, you know, you lose game 1, you're like, all right, we just need to win our next home game, still win on theirs, and we good. And then you lose game 2, and then you're getting blitzed in game 3, and it's like, you shocked. Then when the series is over, you just kind of like I said, embarrassed. You know, you're just like, man, what just happened?
He finished that series with only 18 points on horrible 35% shooting, 30% for 3, and only 19 assists to 16 turnovers. Lillard never scored more than 20 in the series and was held below that 3 times.
I knew I was finna get killed, you know what I'm saying, because I didn't play well the whole series. I finally got, you know, the credit and the respect, and then this happened. So it was like, then my Achilles was like at the end of the game, I strained my Achilles and I was like, damn, like that was the one that really stung because not only were our expectations so high to make a push, but we lost in the first round and we got swept with home court advantage. It was the high of highs for me like in my career and it ended at the lowest of lows. To everybody else, it was the end of the world, but I went on the podium after game 4 in New Orleans after we got swept. Our team coming in like, damn, you want to do the podium? It's okay if you don't want to. Tough night, whatever. I'm like, no, I'll get on the podium. For me, the same thing remains. I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to do my part. You know, everybody has a job to do, and I got to focus on what my job is. And I went up there, I said, we lost to a better team. It was our time to get our ass beat. I didn't play well enough. I got to be better. Like, it wasn't as hard for me to get up there and do that on TV because I know that it didn't happen because I didn't handle my business. It was just my turn to go through some. So for me, I literally was on the podium and I was thinking to myself, when I'm on the other side of this, I want to represent myself right now the way I want people to, you know, when they cheering for me, if I'm, you know, in the finals or if I win everything, I want them to be able to respect that moment partially because of how they saw me in this moment. I think sometimes you got to go through these kind of things and you got to learn your lesson from it and move forward. You know, now it's time to get better and get ready to move toward the next season. But then that summer, I was like, I got to figure something out or the team's just going to keep doing this. And my trainer, Phil Beckner, was like, we got to start training further out. We got to develop your game further out so you can give yourself more space. So we started off like just doing foundation shooting. So I started off shooting deep without jumping. And then we started moving into it. And then we started doing catch and shoot, like quick releases, just like under a second, just firing them. And then we started doing shooting drills from that distance. And then we started ending workouts, doing all those drills from that distance. So it was like when I was tired, when I didn't have momentum, when I was coming back to shoot at night for a second workout, we was just working that range just so I could be able to play from further out. And teams wouldn't be able to just take my space away so easy.
Being overlooked, underappreciated, and then losing in a humiliating fashion only fueled Damian even more. He worked tirelessly over the summer to improve his game, and the 2019 season saw a much more patient and mature Lillard.
Go after 7 minutes deep into this corner, feeling it. Damian trying to take advantage, angles in, Dame back cut into the lane, backs him with the right hand on the magic carpet. Holds, Conley up on him. He sends in a three-point shot. In the freezer. Swings it to Aminu, makes a tremendous catch, back to Dame, raising it, hits! Damian Lillard from the outer limits.
He returned as a fitter and better player, and soon became one of the most complete pick-and-roll ball handlers in the NBA. Dame became a master in reading the pick-and-roll coverage, and started making great decisions against every scheme designed to stop him.
It's just like, okay, they're gonna be aggressive, I just play from out higher. And then I start to pick who I want to be in the pick and roll. And then I just start to manipulate them. You know, they'll try to be aggressive, and I'll just come off a pick and roll real hard, knowing they're gonna chase me, and I'll just shoot regular. I won't even jump into them. I'll just stop and shoot on the dime, then run into me.
If a team used drop coverage, Dame just shot over the top and killed them from the outside. He became very comfortable with the step-back shot, which is arguably one of the best in the NBA.
You figure out the things that make you, your best and give you your best chance consistently. And I think I've just found that space.
With his improved arsenal of plays, he recorded multiple 40-point games, but the highlight of the regular season came on March 7th, when he scored a season-high 51 points against OKC.
Lillard over Ferguson.
And that was the game that marked the start of a heated rivalry between Dame and Russell Westbrook. Portland finished the season 53-29, again claiming the 3rd seed. And in the first round, they matched up against Oklahoma City. From the jump, the intensity was off the charts.
Because there was just so much back and forth. Like, they swept us that season, 4-0 in the regular season. So many people picked us to just get whooped on. Like, they thought we was gonna get smoked. The year before, we got swept by New Orleans as a 3 seed. We got swept. People thought we ain't like each other, because I think there's that level of competitiveness. Yeah, like whatever you on is what I'm gonna be on.
Games 1 and 2 in Portland saw the Blazers take a commanding lead, fueled by CJ McCollum's scoring and Lillard's deep range.
Shooting in this game. Lillard with a 35. Wow. Felt it on him. Crossover, step back, three-pointer is up.
OKC fought back at home in Game 3, but the momentum shifted back to Portland after a dominant Game 4 road win.
Lillard splits the defense, drives out, banks it home.
Once we got to Game 5, we won Game 4 the next game in OKC. We get to Game 5. Like, once I got to the arena, I felt like it was gonna be like, my nap felt good. I was on time. I liked what I had on, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, I felt it's gonna be a night, you know what I'm saying? And at that point, it was like, they gotta go.
Damian put on a masterclass, racking up 50 points.
Third quarter in Game 4. So here's Lillard, gets up the first shot. And Lillard, long range three is good. Ferguson on him. Here's Lillard, little turnaround three is good. Man, could he hit some tough shots.
So really, once we got to the end of the game, and they was up like 15 in the 4th. Yeah. And we came back.
21-6 run for the Blazers. Westbrook gives it to George. George will pull the mid-range, and he hits it, and the Thunder.
I remember Paul George hit a jumper, we was down 2. We called timeout, and we go for the 2-for-1. When I see the basket now, I went up, going past my dude, and I went between 2 dudes, and I was just I laid it up, and it was I barely could see the basket. It was just clicking that night. And once I saw we had the last shot, I was like, this gonna hurt. If we get them out tonight, this gonna hurt.
With the score tied at 115 and a few seconds on the clock, Lillard did the unthinkable.
Lillard, long range three.
I was like, that's going in.
It's good at the buzzer! Damian Lillard! Are you kidding me?
After I made it, I just felt so much inside of me, because it was so much back and forth in the series. It was so much back and forth, and not just during the games, but post-game press conferences. It was just so much being said that after I did it, I turned back because I wanted to look at their faces. I just wanted to see how y'all look. I really turned back, and once I did, I just waved.
With one shot, Lillard ended the series, sent the Thunder home, and created one of the most iconic moments in NBA history.
In the whole series, I was just hitting deep 3 after deep 3. So when it got to that end of the game, I just remember everybody kind of waving, telling me to go, because they saw me waiting and I was so far from the basket.
And I'm watching the time behind him, and it's going down. So I'm at what point is he gonna make his move?
Yeah. So I was standing there looking at the rim, and I was like, this is a comfortable range. I just remember knowing what I was gonna do already. I had space, but I already knew in my head, he stay right there, I'm shooting this right here.
And I didn't know he was gonna raise from 40. I
I was like, go, go. Then he raised from 40, and I was like, that's a bad mother.
That's why the foundation of what you built on is really important. Like, it gotta be real, because if it's not real and it's not really tested, when you get to those moments, you're gonna fold.
Again, just like that shot against Houston, there was no celebration, just a cold stare, and a friendly reminder that clutch time means it's Dame time.
Those situations are handled way before the time comes. In the summer, I think when you truly prepare yourself with training and conditioning and things like that, when you cheat yourself, you fail in those moments. You know, you crash. And when you really put the time in, and whether people see it or whether people know it or not, you know, it always come to light.
Portland carried that momentum to the second round. They were pushed to Game 7 against the Nuggets, but they managed to win and advance to their first conference final since 2000.
Lillard, step back three for the answer.
The Blazers had a great chance against the Warriors, who had an injured Kevin Durant. But once again, Golden State championship pedigree proved to be too big a bite for the Blazers to chew. Lillard and McCollum had great moments, but Steph and the Warriors were just on another level, and they swept Portland again.
Just a special season, you know, for our team, and for me individually. I know last summer I did a lot of things, and, you know, I was prepared for this season. I came in sharp, I was ready, and I felt like I had my best season this year. Just a disappointing ending to it.
This season defined Damian Lillard in many ways, but most importantly proved that he's a cold-blooded killer.
Dame. Dame's the killer. Certified. Yeah. Certified. Dame just a rude mother. Like, he just rude, he's just disrespectful, he just do anything, pass half court and just let it fly, buzzer beaters, no fear, just nothing. He's not just a killer, he's a serial killer.
In the offseason, Dame was entering the final year of his deal, and Portland was afraid that he might look for a change of scenery. But loyalty is what Damian values very high. He chose Weber State because they were the first to offer him a scholarship. Till this day, he still has the same coach from Weber State as his personal trainer. So for Dame, chasing rings somewhere else was not an option to consider. He wanted to stay and win in Portland, and he signed a 4-year, $196 million Supermax contract extension with the Blazers. The following year, Dame started the season on fire, averaging 30 points, 8 assists per game, and hitting multiple clutch shots.
And Lowry bit. Coming off the screen, Lillard a three. Up and in! The Blazers have tied it. Trim up to Dame at the buzzer. Got it! Damian Lillard at the buzzer.
But he's doing just as good a job this year.
Again, Damian Lillard.
Against the Brooklyn Nets, Lillard recorded a then career-high 60 points. He would have surpassed that 2 months later by scoring 61 points to go along with 10 rebounds and 7 assists in an overtime win versus the Warriors.
Lillard working on Burks, dancing free, a three, good!
Since that game, Lillard had a 6-game stretch of averaging 49 points per game. He also recorded his first career triple-double against the Houston Rockets, registering 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists.
Here's Lillard again from the logo.
He was selected to his 5th All-Star game but was unable to participate due to a groin injury.
I think, first of all, it's a mental thing. We've been struggling all season long, and we're just at the point where you could either make excuses and talk about the injuries and use things as a crutch, feel bad for yourself, or you can figure it out, and choose to battle. So that was the decision I made mentally, regardless of where we were as a team.
By mid-season, the Blazers were drifting outside the playoff picture, fighting uphill every night in a brutal Western Conference.
I think it's one of those seasons where, got injuries, wins and losses, bad stretches, and a lot of outside noise of people saying, what's going on and why aren't they doing this? And,
Then the league shut down due to the global pandemic, and the Blazers sat outside the postseason with their fate uncertain. And then came the NBA bubble in Orlando. Damian played with desperation because for the Blazers, every game was a must-win.
Once we got there, it was like we gonna put our best foot forward. Like, we gonna make something of it. I ain't gonna come out here and waste my time. It's not like it's gonna be 82 games or a back-to-back coming up or something like that. It's like, this is all we have. So.
Oh my goodness. Look at this shot by Lillard.
Oh my goodness.
That was from the NBA logo.
In Portland's fourth game, upon returning from the 4-month hiatus, Lillard recorded 45 points and 12 assists in a win over the Denver Nuggets. 3 days later, he followed that up with a 51-point, 7-assist performance against the Philadelphia 76ers. Next game, Lillard erupted for 61 points, tying a career high en route to a win over the Dallas Mavericks.
A minute and a half to play. That's a bomb! Oh my gosh!
This was his third 60-point outing of the season, joining Wilt Chamberlain as the only two players in league history to have such games 3 times in a single season. Lillard averaged NBA-high 38 points and 9.6 assists, leading Portland to a 6-2 record, and he was voted the unanimous MVP of the NBA bubble.
I did a lot to be ready for the bubble. I mean, I prepared for it, so I wasn't gonna leave what I was leaving behind and the kind of time I was having to just go out here and bull. You know what I mean? So
Portland finished 35-39, earning them a play-in spot where they defeated the Memphis Grizzlies. Damian dragged Portland into the playoffs almost single-handedly, and in the first round, they faced the Lakers led by LeBron James and AD.
Three-point shooters like that! Like that! Damian Lillard!
And even though they won Game 1, the Lakers were too strong and their run ended there. Over the summer, Dame wanted to wash the sour taste of defeat from his mouth, and he suited up to play at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, where he won the gold medal with Team USA.
Just because I've been in the league 7 years now, my whole life I've been playing this game, so of course it's challenging physically to do it, but I think the main thing for me is just doing it mentally. Not just being mentally tough, but being smart, being sharp.
Then in 2021, Dame had another spectacular season with 29 points and 7.5 assists on average.
Lillard from the logo, it's good! Dame flares out, gets the look at 3, hits it!
Portland finished 42-30, securing the 6th seed, but the structure remained fragile. The same defensive issues resurfaced, and once again, Damian was asked to solve everything.
Dame gets it with White checking. Dame, deep look from outside. There's the 3.
I remember we playing in Chicago, and I hit a game winner in an empty arena.
Blazers get the tip. 5 seconds left. Covington trying to get it to Dame. He puts it on the floor. Step back 3 from Dame. Oh! Painted! Damian Lillard! Game winner in Chicago.
Like, I heard every word that everybody was saying. The Bulls GM was sitting a couple rows across from their bench, like right where I hit the shot at. And I heard his reaction to himself, like, what? You know what I mean? He a couple rows behind me, and I heard his reaction. And then all my teammates ran. It was just like a scrimmage.
The first round was the furthest the Blazers got, despite Lillard averaging 34 points and 10 assists in the series against the Nuggets. This series included the historic Game 5, where Damian delivered one of the most unforgettable individual playoff performances of this generation.
Telling him to get out of his way. Lillard on a 3.
Nobody was stopping him that game.
Step back 3, high degree of difficulty. Lillard, a 3, huge.
When we win this game, we finishing y'all in 6. Either team is getting finished in 6 games after this.
A man on a mission. Lillard, the jab, the bucket, paint it. Oh, Damian Lillard on a tear here in the 3rd.
It's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in all my life.
Top. Lillard, a transition 3, fouled and 1. And Harrison came in for this reason alone to defend Lillard. Lillard fading away to 3. Painted Damian Lillard ties it up again.
Damian scored 55 points, knocking down 12 three-pointers, setting an NBA playoff record in the process. Shot after shot, possession after possession, he refused to let the season end.
Lillard trying to shake Rivers, a step-back triple. Oh, Damian Lillard! And the Blazers have cut it to 2.
But even that wasn't enough. After 9 seasons, the Blazers fired coach Terry Stotts and replaced him with Chauncey Billups. The conversation shifted from criticism to concern. How much longer could one player hold everything together?
I don't feel I need to prove to anybody how bad I want to win it, because it shows in my work. It shows in my approach to the game. Man, it's time to run from the grind. You don't want to win. You just want to make, like, it's stuff like that that I just, you know, when I hear those things, I'm like, man, people really don't get it. I'm not going to go and try to team up with top players in the league because I know that'll make the chances better, because that's not who I am. You know, I'm a get it out the mud type of person. Just give me a real shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, just give me a real shot. Let's, like, actually want to win it, and let's not be on the, oh, we make the playoffs every year. Like, cool, I'd rather not be there at this point if we don't have a real shot to do it. In that same mentality, if all of these things are happening and I don't win it, I can live with that.
In 2021, Damian was named to the NBA 75th anniversary team, officially cementing his place among the greatest players in league history.
People start blowing me up, like, you made top 75. So I'm like, man, let me see who on here. Like, right. And when I was there, like, in my entire life, I never looked around and felt so, not small, like I'm nothing, but right. Just like Magic and Isaiah and all these people. Yeah. It was like a bunch of dudes in there where I'm like, I wasn't looking at myself as with them. I was just like, I'm in the room and all these dudes is in here. Like, it was crazy.
And then the 2022 season started. Before we could have seen how Chauncey would impact the Blazers, Dame got hurt. The injury affected his movement, his shooting, and his rhythm. He tried to push through it, but managed to play just 29 games.
If you go look at availability and who's available to play every night, go look at up the percentage. You're gonna see me out there over 95% of the time. Rolled ankle, whatever, if it ain't broke, I'm out there.
In January, Dame underwent surgery for an abdominal injury and later was officially ruled out for the remainder of the season.
It had reached a point where my body couldn't do what my mind, wanted it to do. At some point, you gotta make decisions that, suit you for the long haul and not just right now. And, that was the decision that I made.
This was the first time since Lillard's rookie season that Portland missed the playoffs, finishing the season with a 27-55 record, after which the management decided to break up Dame and CJ. For nearly a decade, Damian and CJ had grown together, a backcourt that defined Portland basketball. Breaking them up wasn't personal, it was a signal that the franchise was resetting.
It was a great season for me to just kind of recharge, and just going into next season, I'll be more ready to get back into it than I ever have, and more prepared physically to do that too.
In 2023, Dame returned to his usual form. After missing the final 47 games last season with injuries, Lillard scored 41 points in Portland's second and third games of the new season to lead them to a 3-0 start.
Dame operating with a left hand, steps back for the lead, a three, up and in! Damian Lillard has done it again, a three to give the Blazers the lead. Yeah, what time is it?
We had a really good start, and I had a lot of confidence in us being better this season. For me, I just basically just hit the gas. Like, I'm gonna be a lot more aggressive. I'm gonna play the way I play. I'm gonna make the right plays, but I'm gonna be more aggressive. And when I started being more aggressive, that's just what it turned into.
By Wagner, elevates and packs it. 65-46. Dame a three. Yeah! Come on! Are you kidding me? Works on folks. He steps back. Damian Lillard.
Still, there was no confusion about the direction of the franchise. Portland was rebuilding. Young players surrounded Dame, and losses were expected.
I've had runs in the past, but I would always go out of my way to try to prove that, like, I'm not trying to be on a run and do all this stuff. So I would intentionally almost like pull it back, you know what I'm saying? And it would end.
Devastating shooter. Speaking of shooters.
Oh, wow, there's the logo.
Speaking of shooters.
But this time, I'm just like, we need to win as many games as possible. Like, we don't have the health. We don't have the luxury of me pulling it back. Like, it makes perfect sense for me to play this way. So, it's really just been mental of me just, like, sustaining it. I just been continuing to push it forward.
Survey sees two, takes the three. Got it! Damian Lillard knocks down the triple.
By Lillard, beautiful. Boy, that's a thing of...
Night after night, he delivered moments that felt disconnected from the standings. In January, Lillard scored 50 points in a loss against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Dirk will brush, roll away. Dame will elevate a three. Dame off the screen, into the lane, explodes to the rack, and finger roll it up and in.
I don't think nobody's better than me when I get on the court. That's probably my greatest strength is I believe what I believe, and that's that's what it
You
is.
think
but
you're the best point guard in the NBA right now?
yeah.
In the following game, Lillard had a then season-high 60 points, hitting 9 3-pointers, along with 7 rebounds and 8 assists.
Jared Vanderbilt on the floor. Dame avoids a defender and broke.
He dismantled the Utah Jazz and led the Blazers to a win.
Kentucky, good pro. Dame the other way, a deep one. Got it. Damian Lillard. Here he goes again. Dame for a 50-piece. A 50-piece.
During the All-Star weekend, Lillard won the three-point contest, and a day later, he scored the game-winning three-pointer in the All-Star game, giving Team Giannis a victory against Team LeBron. However, the best game of his career came a week later. In a home game against the Houston Rockets, Dame went unconscious.
I knew I was going to have a big game on my 8th point. I didn't know it was going to be 70.
For that. You're sick.
But I knew it was because I got a layup. I came off a screen. They switched it with Jabari Smith. I hit a step back 3 right. And then my 3rd three-pointer, I was going to come off a 77, but they switched it and he jumped into the screen. Like he just backed into the screener and it was just like a big space. And I kind of like did like this, like I was going to come off and I just rose up. As soon as I let it go, I was like, that's a swish. And after that, I was like, I'm probably going to score 50 points tonight.
Watford, Lillard sets his feet, leans back a 3. Got it, Damian Lillard. 7 threes on the night. Dame, a deep one. Buried it. Damian Lillard.
He erupted for 71 points, knocking down 13 three-pointers while adding 6 rebounds and 6 assists.
Tate with him, sets his feet, leans back for 3. Got it. Damian Lillard, a career high. The three-pointer for Lillard is 12th of the night. Into the lane, running right-hander up and in. Damian Lillard with that runner. 71 points, a career high.
It wasn't just a career high, it was history. He became just the 8th player in NBA history to score 70 or more in a single game.
After the game, everybody was like, oh my God, you had 71 points. And I was like, I really should have had like 90 tonight. And I really meant it, because when I started thinking about some of the plays, I'm like, I should have had 90. I don't know if I'm gonna ever score 70 again. So like when you really think about it, it's like, I really could have had 90. When the time came, I could have had 90 if these shots went in. So it was like, you can have a great defensive possession 10 times in a game and get scored on 10 times if it's the right guy.
Yeah.
I've done it to people. Like,
facts.
It's like, man, that's good D, but I just feel good tonight. And they going in, like there's nothing you can do.
Damian became the greatest scorer in franchise history, passing legends and cementing his place as the face of the Trailblazers forever. By season's end, Lillard averaged 32.2 points and 7 assists per game, but Portland finished 33-49, missing the playoffs again.
I'd say underwhelming, just frustrating. You know, there's a lot of things, is never being fully healthy, never being able to put a consistent stretch together. And, you know, it was just a season full of ups and downs and, you know, not really any moments of consistency.
For years, he had carried the franchise through rebuilds, injuries, and constant uncertainty. But as time passed, the questions grew louder. Was loyalty finally running out of time?
When I was in Portland, like my heart was fully in Portland. You couldn't tell me I didn't have a chance to win at some point. Like that's really what I believed. And any team that I'm on, I always feel like we're gonna have a chance to win. You know, but that fight gets hard when it's like you have that mentality every year of your career, and then every year you end up seeing like, man, we a little short, or you know, this is happening or that's happening.
The breaking point was the 2023 draft. Portland landed the number 3 pick and drafted Scoot Henderson, a point guard who was essentially Dame's replacement. They chose the future over Dame's now, and that was the beginning of the end.
As time goes on, and the longer that you're in this league, you wanna have an opportunity to win it all. One of my greatest strengths I know is when my heart is fully into it and fully believing, and I just didn't believe what was in front of me. Just going through the summer, I knew I was gonna be moved. They was talking about it every day. I think the thing I was bothered by the most was probably just everybody saying, I heard this and I heard that, and I wasn't talking to nobody. You know, I just let it be that, and I just stayed quiet about it until it was time. And then, you know, you get close to training camp is almost here, and it's like, all right, you know, I was like, I'll just come back, whatever, you know what I mean? I just want to play.
Damian continued working out at the Blazers facility, maintaining his professionalism. At the same time, the front office was preparing to trade him. Then, on July 1st, 2023, the notification hit. Damian Lillard has requested a trade from the Portland Trailblazers.
Is there anything that you could say about the trade request?
I can say that there was, and I would just prefer not to speak on the Trailblazers.
There comes a point where, you just have to see things for what it is. My loyalty hasn't changed. You got to know what's best for yourself. You got to know, when the time comes, what you need to do. And I just think that's what happened. The team was like, man, we just going to rebuild or whatever. Like, I'm not going to be like, no, please keep me. It wasn't a lack of loyalty. I think it was on both sides that what the team wanted to do and what I wanted to see happen, it just couldn't be at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it was a matter of loyalty. It just was time.
Then came the move that stunned the league.
Damian Lillard is officially a member of the Milwaukee Bucks.
I never been traded before, so I thought you get traded, you come in. But they told me it was going to be a rally, but I didn't know it was a rally for me.
Only the greats get that.
I thought it was like today they're going to have a rally going on for the team, whatever. I didn't know it was all around.
Right, everybody coming out to see it.
So when I got there, it was just it was crazy to walk into that and be embraced like that.
In a blockbuster trade, Damian Lillard joined forces with Giannis Antetokounmpo, instantly forming what many believe to be the most dangerous duo in the NBA.
But I think anytime you can come to a team that's built to win it all, it's worth the challenge. But this was the first time where I went into it like, we can win for real.
While his heart will always belong to Portland, Milwaukee became the new stage for his pursuit of a championship ring.
Damian Lillard!
Lillard made his Bucks debut against the Philadelphia 76ers, scoring 39 points, a franchise record for a debut.
Lillard gets a step. Lillard, and it goes, and one for Damian.
He also grabbed 8 rebounds, and the Bucks won that game.
Damian Lillard, three-pointer flies, and he's got another one.
And we definitely had our stretches where it was like, that was it right there. I remember we went to LA, we played the Lakers. I had 35 and 11, and he had 35 and 12 and 8. And then we played the Clippers, and I had 34 and 10 and 6, and he had 37, 12 and 9. And it was those back-to-back games. I remember walking through the tunnel, and we were just looking at each other like, this how we gotta do it.
Here's Dame. Here's the first three-point attempt, and it's from Dame distance.
Lillard races past.
By January, Dame time had officially reached Milwaukee. In a home game against the Sacramento Kings, Lillard scored 29 points, including a game-winning three-pointer.
Dame pulls for the Dame time!
That's what Dame does. We just got to get out of his way and just let him be great. At the end of the day, he thrives in those moments, and we want Dame to be Dame.
The regular season was a mix of historic milestones and individual dominance. Dame earned a starting spot in the All-Star Game and walked away as the 2024 All-Star Game MVP after a 39-point performance in Indianapolis. The pairing with Giannis was terrifying, but behind the scenes, the transition wasn't seamless. Dame was vocal about the difficulty of moving his life across the country and being away from his kids.
It was extremely difficult because people don't understand the change that it is for the person picking up and going into a new environment. I think people look at it kind of like a video game. They just the game. What are you doing? And he's reacting like this, but it's they don't have to be in my shoes. 13 seasons, you spend a lot of time away from your family. People don't realize how much time it takes to be an NBA player. I'm giving my everything to this game, and then my family get what's left. When is it going to switch,
Still, Milwaukee pushed forward, finishing the regular season 49-33, securing the 3rd seed in the East. Then came the playoffs. With Giannis sidelined by a calf strain, the weight of the city fell on Dame's shoulders.
Lillard, step back.
He rose to the occasion in Game 1 against Indiana, scoring 35 points in the first half alone, a franchise playoff record.
Lillard, got him. Lillard, oh, he's feeling it. 29 points in the first half, off balance. He's got it. And the foul.
But just like the year before, injuries wrote the ending. Lillard suffered an Achilles strain during Game 3, forcing him to miss Games 4 and 5. Without him, Milwaukee struggled to regain momentum. The Bucks ultimately fell to Indiana in 6 games, despite Damian's extraordinary production when he was on the floor.
Yeah, people said everything they said about us, and Dame needs to do this, but I averaged 25 points and 7 assists. Considering everything else, that's still what I did. And we was a 2 seed the entire season until the very last game of the season. So off the court, I had a lot of stuff going on personally. Yeah. So I just kind of threw myself even more into when I could play basketball, I played ball. You know what I mean?
In 2025, Damian Lillard returned to the floor healthy and re-energized.
One against Okoro. Dame steps it back and sinks it. Or not. Dame time.
On the surface, the numbers were exactly what you'd expect from a superstar. 25 points and 7 assists a night. He was still an elite offensive weapon.
3 seconds on the shot clock. Hits a team shot for Dame. Dame off the bounce against Brooks. Dame driving inside. Gets it to go.
And as the season went on, I think I started to see how I can make a game easier for him. And I think he started to see like what I needed from him to be free out of the pick and roll. From here, I think it'll continue to just get better. He's always had to put his foot down in Milwaukee and kind of lead the charge and be kind of like the man to push it forward. And I've always been that way in Portland. And I think now that we together, we both got to look over and say, like, this is a top 75 player too. I got to trust him to carry this with me. You know, I think we both got to do that.
Lillard guarded by Johnson. Got to go here. 3 to shoot. Lillard gets to the basket, and the floater is good.
Later that season, he led the Milwaukee Bucks to winning the NBA Cup.
Because of the way the collective ball as Lillard knocks that one down. Their shooting is cooled off. Lillard way downtown. And the Bucks 8 straight points. Dame time? Yes, sir!
Your champions, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Man, this guy is one of the best players I've ever played with, top 75. His resume speaks for itself. And man, whenever I need this guy, he's always there for me. Whenever he needs me, I'm always there for him.
Around the Lopez screen, snakes it. Tough step back, oh man.
And at times, it felt like Dame time was finally sinking with Milwaukee's system. He even pulled off something he'd never done before, back-to-back triple-doubles. Dame also earned his 9th All-Star selection, but that season itself was a roller coaster of highs and lows.
Again, one more basket for the win. Damian Lillard. Dame time! There you go, look at it.
In March, disaster struck when Lillard was ruled out indefinitely with a deep blood clot in his right calf. It was a serious, potentially career-threatening condition.
You know, I've had things that I've had to deal with, an ankle or Achilles, calf, whatever it might be, but those are all things that you go to rehab, you deal with it like that, like an athlete would. So, I'm thinking that's what I was going into, and then you have a blood clot, and obviously that's a thing that can affect your life. Each time I went back to the hospital, I wanted to hear like it's gone or like it's smaller, it's in the same spot. So that was more of my focus.
Against the odds, just before the start of the playoffs, the Bucks announced that Damian had been cleared to play.
I had been meeting with, a few specialists, and they allowed me to do certain exercises. So I knew that, if it was a chance that I could come back and play, I didn't want to just be sitting around doing nothing. So I was, doing all of those things on the bike, lifting.
5 days later, he stepped back onto the floor in Game 2 of the first round against the Indiana Pacers. But the comeback was brief. In Game 4, Dame suffered a non-contact calf injury while attempting to secure a long rebound. He was unable to put any weight on his left leg and had to be helped off the court. Without Lillard, Milwaukee couldn't recover, and Indiana closed out the series in 5 games.
This is a tough one, honestly. Blood clot, followed by this. It's just tough.
It's hard. It's hard being in this position. But the man, he's one of the toughest, mentally toughest guys I've ever been around, and that's why he is who he is. And I believe he's going to overcome every obstacle that's going to be in front of him.
The following day, an MRI delivered the final blow.
Damian Lillard has been diagnosed with a torn left Achilles tendon. He underwent an MRI late this morning,
in Milwaukee that revealed the severity. He is out for the season.
The injury left many questioning whether he could return to his dominant form.
I literally, after I tore my Achilles and I felt it, and I was sitting on the floor, I grabbed it and I rolled over and I sat up. And the first thought that I had to myself was like, I'm about to come back from an Achilles. You know, I know it's gonna be a long journey. I know it's a challenge mentally, and I kind of shifted right there to what I knew was coming. And then it was, you know, just kind of learning more about it. You know, talking to Aaron Rodgers and KD and Rudy Gay, you know, all these guys that experienced it and handled it differently. But I never had that moment of like pity or any of those things with none of my injuries, honestly. Like you said, it's a mental battle, but you know, if I don't lose those, just not gonna lose.
By July, the Bucks had released him for cap space, setting the stage for a full circle moment, and Damian signed a 3-year deal to return home to Portland.
It never felt right not being home. Through it all, I found my way back, and I'm just excited, you know, and really, really thankful and appreciative of the door being open for me to come back.
You know what time it is. You know what time it is. First, I just want to say how much I appreciate you guys showing this type of love. I think it's well documented how much the Trailblazers, the city of Portland, being a part of this community, y'all know how much it means to me. I'm excited to be back. The love never changed, and it's going to continue to grow, so I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
For Dame, it wasn't just about basketball. It was about being home, reunited with his kids, back on familiar streets, rehabilitating in the city that watched him grow from a quiet kid into a franchise icon.
So I come back with love, and you know, I'm excited to be back in the Motor Center. I played so many games that I recognize fans' faces, you know, from the court. So seeing their faces, being back in the building, being back home, I'm excited to play the game, and I'm gonna play the game free.
Even though he's not on the floor, his presence is massive. He's already been seen mentoring the young Blazers core from the sidelines.
But whatever I can be to the team at this point, that's what I'll be. But I'll definitely be there. You know, I'll be around.
Yeah, as many times as I put it on, feel good to put it on today.
Three-point champ.
I think in a season where I'm not participating, the league allowing me to come in and do something like this to get some competition, feel a little bit of pressure, get in front of the fans again. You know, it was a great experience, but that's all I do it for, is just to keep adding to my legacy, keep adding to my reputation and being who I am. And I was given an opportunity, and I came out and took advantage of it.
Dame is 35 now, and he knows this is his final act. He's not just coming back to play, he's coming back to finish what he started in Rip City.
At this point, I'm right there probably at the top, you know, as the best Blazer of all time. The only thing that stops me from just saying I am right now is the fact that I haven't won a championship. You know, I have a lot of the records, I've won a lot of games. You know, I think the only thing left is to win the championship.
I wish I could do that for a city. You know, I want to do that for Portland. And teams every year go out and they draft players and they trade for this guy and they sign this guy and they do all this trying to bring a championship to the city, you know, but I want to be a part of one of those ones where they like, yeah, we drafted Dame in 2012 and in 2000 whatever, we won the championship, you know, so from the point where I got drafted, you know, it was a success and, you know, we got one done.
Since entering the league in 2012, Damian has defined what clutch means in the modern NBA. In his 13-year career, there isn't a team in the NBA that hasn't been a victim of Dame time at least once, and his celebration of pointing at his wrist has become iconic. Along the way, Lillard has been recognized among the league's elite, earning multiple All-NBA selections and a place in the NBA's 75th anniversary team. He's in the top 5 all-time in three-pointers made and in free throw percentage.
My legacy, I would say that people will remember me for being a more solid person than I was a player. Of course, you want the accolades and all the recognition for your career, but I want people for my legacy to look back and say, for him to have been who he was as a player, it was unbelievable for him to have been the kind of person he was.
In an era defined by movement, he chose loyalty. In a league driven by noise, he led with humility.
Like, my loyalty is not to just, oh, he's just being loyal to the organization. Like, yeah, you know, I'm a trailblazer, but I understand his business. My loyalty is with who I am as a person.
When you know in your heart that you truly train hard and take care of yourself and do everything to win the championship, I don't have to prove it to nobody.
And I don't think I would go crazy if I didn't, but like, I really want to win a ring. I'm gonna still put my best foot forward. I'm gonna still compete and try to win a championship. Like, I feel like I'm gonna win a championship, but if it don't happen, that ain't the end all be all for me. Because like, the media they not gonna ever make me sweat by saying, oh, well, he's not a winner. Like, a lot of y'all think winners at nothing, but criticizing people. So.
And whether or not a championship ever comes to Portland, one truth is undeniable. Damian Lillard will retire as one of the greatest shooters the NBA has ever seen, and one of the most clutch players to ever touch the floor.
They'll never give me credit for what I've actually done. Unless I just come out here and win the championship in Portland, and they better hope that don't happen.
Whatever the future holds, you know what time it is.